Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Welcome to my show, and I am going to be painting a rooster today for you. So I hope you will be inspired to paint this along with us. I'll be showing you step by step how to do it all the way through, from the drawing all the way to the completion of the painting. And it's a really actually a little bit easier than it looks. Just a few simple brush strokes and you can do this rooster for yourself. So let's get started. Okay, here is my example painting, and this guy is a part of a 3-color challenge that I'm doing with my friends Cinnamon Cooney and Ginger Cook. Cinnamon went on before me, and Ginger's going to be going on behind me, and so we're doing a long live stream together today, and all three of us have chosen 3 colors for our projects. And this is, I think this is the first time I've actually done a 3-color challenge like this. It was actually really fun. Surprising how many colors you can get out of just 3 colors, you know, your primary colors. And I'm using black and white as well. Not cheating. I asked for permission, so they don't count. Got my husband Mark here with me today.
Hey there, everybody.
And he is going to be taking chat and questions. So if you've got anything for me, you can leave that in all caps and I will try to answer your questions. This guy was a second part. So I did a rooster earlier this year. This one here in the black and white theme too. So these two together, they're kind of barnyard buddies here. I figured it'd be fun to give him a second painting in case you wanted to set those up in your kitchen or something like that. The first rooster was really popular. We had a lot of people painting it, and they did awesome. I mean, I was so impressed with the paintings that came out of that first tutorial. So I'm hoping you guys will do just as well with this one. It's pretty much the same type of project. So if you did the first one, you can totally do this one. I just wanted to do this crazy rooster. He's a Polish. He's got a long name. White crested blue Polish bantam rooster. So got a fancy name for a ridiculous looking rooster, but he's fun. I've got a 9x12 canvas panel here. This is a MDF panel. And I'm going to start out with my red. And really you can use any red you'd like. I chose kind of an orangey red, but you could actually use more of a magenta red if you wanted it bright. I just wanted this kind of really deep true red. So this is Pyrrole red, but really cadmium red medium would work. Or if you wanted to use a magenta, you could add a little bit of yellow to it to make it a little bit more orangey colored, just whatever you like. I'm going to just put this on. I added a little tiny bit of water just to make it flow. I'm going to put it on side to side so that it streaks and looks like maybe barnwood.
You want your example up in the corner there?
Yeah. I'm going to put that up there. There we go. So this first part is really easy, and actually doing faux wood type painting is very relaxing because it's pretty hard to mess it up. It's kind of fun, and if you can remember to just do these side by side, side to side brush strokes and streaks, you can get it to look like wood pretty easily. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of black and a little bit of my blue and a little bit more red. I'm going to make a darker reddish color. The blue just helps it kind of becoming too dull. Adding the black to your red will kind of dull it down. So the blue kind of makes it a little bit more vibrant. Gives it a little bit of a purple tone. Okay, so I'm making that kind of deep black color, and I'm going to lightly, very lightly, start streaking it over this wet paint. And if your paint's dried already, you can just let it dry all the way and do this over the top of the dry paint. It won't make a difference. Just try to keep your brush strokes even, side to side. If you need to tilt your canvas, you can to help. See all that nice, lovely streaking. Don't have a lot of paint on my brush, and I'm just barely skimming it along the top of the canvas there. I set it down a little too hard right there. Here we go. Those who've come from Cinnamon's show, thank you for stopping by. Welcome. If you're your first time here, we'd love for you to subscribe. We do these shows twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays. Mark helps me, and we have a lot of fun. We do beginner and sort of intermediate projects. This is definitely one of our more beginner level projects. Tuesday nights are super easy ones. This one's kind of more of a medium level beginner project, but I think that that's good. I don't want to do too much to it and cause it to lift off of my thing here. So I'm going to let Mark take that for me. He's my official hair dry guy. He's going to dry that.
I thought I was going to dry the painting, not your hair.
Well, oh, did I say hair dryer? Yeah, I did. Well, blow dryer, sorry.
I mean, I can do your hair too if
no,
you want me to.
No, it's okay. I'm going to grab some this here. Clean off my hands. Try not to touch anything. I'm really bad about touching stuff while I'm in here. Got paint on my hands. Alright, this is the real exciting part. Sorry about that. So we're going to be using a ruler to get our line straight on the rooster barn yard section back here, the wood. So if you've got like just an old ruler, this one I set aside for using for painting. Works really well, and it's a nice little trick to get straight lines. So you might want to grab one of those. Mark's got.
How's that? Good. The edges are gloopy.
Okay, that's fine. I'll wipe that off real quick. Okay, so I'm just going to do 3 lines. I'm just going to try to kind of get them on my thirds. So right about there, just going to line that up. And dry out my brush a little bit, so I don't want it too wet. And we grab black. It's still got a little bit of that red in it, and that's fine. And I'm just going to run it right along the edge there. Very thin. And then do another one right here. Barely touching down, just letting that edge skim along the surface of the canvas. Did I get that straight? Yeah, I guess I did. Okay. It looked weird I looked up there.꯫ I think it's because of the angle of the camera. It just looked like it was a little bit off. I think that that's good enough. I'm just going to put a little bit more of this black, sort of straight black on some of these. And I don't want to get it too dark because we've got our rooster going in here, so I don't want the background to be too close in value, or our rooster details won't show up against it. And you could do any color that you wanted for the background. So if you wanted to do the same color that I used on the other rooster, you'd have to add a color that I didn't use this time. I think I used burnt sienna with my phthalo blue to get that green color. So I'm going to use a liner brush, a little bit of black, I picked up a little bit of that red color too. I'm just going to put in a few little random lines with this. This is a number 20 round Princeton. And all the materials and brushes are listed down in the description, so if you want to check those out, you can. Do kind of a random. Most of this is actually going to be covered up, so I'm not going to worry too much about that area. I'm just going to put a few little lines. Keep them very thin. Okay, and that one's a little bit dark, so I'm just going to rub out a little bit of that. Okay, good enough. All right, let's draw in our rooster here. So he is basically a V shape. If you look at the drawing up there, the front of him is a little bit rounded off, but the tail kind of goes up almost in a straight V to this top corner. So that part is going to come down like that. I'm going to start there so that I have plenty of room to put in those tail feathers, because those are the most fun part of this guy. So you want to be sure you're getting lots of room for all these big tail feathers in the back there. And they're all going to point down to the base of the tail right here where they attach to his body. So some of these are going to come out like this. And so this point here is right about the center of your canvas. So if you can remember that, I think that that's the hardest part about the drawing, is just getting this V deep enough. Then his head is very, very small for his body. So his head is right above this line here, and it's below the top of the tail feathers. So you need to leave a little bit of room for these top head feathers to go. So actually it's even smaller than that. I'm looking at my picture. It's right about like that. And then he's got his beak coming off of that at an angle. Diagonal. His eye is right in here, but it's actually kind of hidden. And then his wattle come on either side right here. And then from the bottom of this circle, you're going to curve in and back out. And then curve it all the way down and off the canvas. And I did not mess with drawing the feet. I figured those would be a little bit more difficult, so I wanted to keep this as easy as possible for y'all. Plus, I just like the composition of getting this guy really big in the middle here. So I think that that's pretty good. I might skinny him out just a little bit right here. Maybe not quite so big right there, and pull him in a little bit tighter right here. Okay, so right about here where the middle part is, go off the edge just maybe an inch to one side, and then about, I don't know, 2 inches from here, there's kind of a diagonal line. If you just follow that line here, that's the end of this wing that cuts off right there, and then the rest of these tail feathers just sort of fall in a diagonal this direction. So hopefully explaining that okay. Isn't he fun? I love this chicken. He's so weird looking. I looked at a lot of roosters trying to decide which one to choose for this, and I just fell in love with these guys. They were so kooky looking. I think I'm gonna increase that angle right there. Okay, I think that's good enough. That's all we really need to do to start in our drawing. Actually, I'm going to narrow him out slightly. I'm going to grab my Filbert. This is a number 4 Filbert. And we will start filling him in. I'm going to start out with black right up by his head, because that part is going to be all black. I'm just going to fill that part in and sort of flick out from the top of the head. I'm going to go around those wattles a little bit on this side. I try to do this as quickly as I can. We're kind of trying to keep these close to an hour as possible, so we started a little bit late. We normally start at 2 on Saturdays. We started a little bit later than normal, so we're going to try to keep this as close to an hour as we can, so Ginger can start hers about 3 o'clock. And I hope you guys will check out her show after mine. She is doing really cool seascape. Okay, I'm going to stop about there. I'm not going to do too much because I don't want to do too much detail right here. I'm going to grab some blue and some white and make myself a gray. So I'm going to grab quite a bit of blue here. This is Phthalo Blue, and this is Cadmium Yellow Medium. Sorry, I didn't say that at the beginning. So trying to make sure we got started on the right time.
So is your nail polish to match the rooster?
Yes.
I'm guessing?
Yes.
Okay, somebody's already commented on it that they like it.
Yep, he's that Polish blue, white crested blue Polish bantam rooster color. It's this silvery blue color, so pretty. So, okay, so I made up quite a bit of that gray color, and I'm mixing a little bit lighter value right here. And I'm just going to start kind of laying in some tail feathers with that. It's a little bit darker than they're going to end up, so we're just going to kind of put in the main tail feathers to start with. Some of them are going to be more rounded, and some of them are going to be kind of spiked, so just leave yourself a little bit of room to do a couple different kinds of feathers. And just trying to fill in any of that red that's in the background there. As I get down toward the bottom here, I'm going to kind of change my angle and sort of start pointing it down this way. So these ones are kind of pointing, well, they're all kind of doing that sort of same curved shape, but just try to kind of keep them at a, like don't bring any down too far behind that angle there. If that makes sense. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a few under here. Most of this is going to be covered up by black feathers, but I do want to get a few of these gray feathers in underneath. And then all of this is going to be black, 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 and then there's going to be more gray here. Through here. I'm going to go above where I think I need it. I'm just going to go ahead and put in gray underneath here, even though I'm not going to end up with those colors. And I've got glazing medium. You can add that to your paint a little bit if you need to help it smooth, give you smoother brush strokes. It'll actually help the paint flow off the brush a little bit better. It's golden glazing liquid.
So there's some, not really debate in chat, but they're trying to decide if the rooster looks more like Rod Stewart or Andy Warhol.
I would go for Andy probably. Yeah, he's probably pretty close to Andy. Definitely. So I'm just...
I shouldn't tell everybody that that's what you look like when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially since I had that little section of my hair that fell out last summer. So now I have like a section of hair that's about this big, and then just like this perfect circle of tuft of hair that sticks out straight up at the top of my head. If I don't, yeah. Oh no, it's pretty, he's not joking. You think he's joking, he's not. That's actually pretty accurate. Alopecia is a real thing. Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm angling these brush strokes down this way. These ones on the chest kind of come almost straight down, and then these for the wing sort of angle this way. So I've just added a little bit of the lighter color there. I'm going to grab a little bit of my black and sort of put in a little shadow. I'm just working in these wet colors. And even if it's dry completely, you can still, as long as you kind of get those, your brush strokes going in the right direction. For these kind of paintings, it's all It's all about the direction of the brush strokes. You really can do a lot of your own expression with them. You don't have to get yours exactly like mine. That's the beauty of these kind of paintings. You can express it however you'd like. It's not going to be, you can't, even if I tried to paint mine over and get it exactly the same, I'm not going to have every single brush stroke be exactly in the same placement. So just kind of let yourself enjoy the process and just try to remember, hey, my, tail feathers are going in this direction, and just layer them as best you can. Leave a little space in between them. I am not pulling my hand all the way down. If you notice, I'm just kind of setting my brush down and flicking it. And that'll give me, as long as I'm pushing my brush flat to a good point, so I've got a good chiseled edge on my brush there, and I lay it on its side, then I can draw with it, and as it lifts off that canvas, it's going to draw a line for me. I don't even have to do it.
Now, is that
do the work for me?
Is that heavy pressure or light pressure or?
Let me try it here again. I'm using black here. Really not pressing down very hard. If I press down really hard, I'd get a really fat line, and you may want to do that in some places. But if you want a thinner line, press your brush flat so you get a nice thin edge and just barely kind of skim it. So depending on how hard you press down, the thicker line you'll get. And then these guys are going to kind of overlap right here, right over the top of these. Gray feathers. Okay, we're already halfway through. He's already taking shape. Let me clean out my brush.
We have a question.
Yes.
Somebody says that they can do drawings like with watercolor pencils and stuff, but they want to transition to painting. So what kind of tips would you have? What is different between drawing to painting, or is it basically the same?
So they're doing drawing right now for watercolors, and they want to do it for acrylics?
They said that they're doing colored pencils.
Colored pencils.
They're doing colored pencil drawings.
Okay.
But they want to transition to painting. So,
okay.
Are the techniques different? Are they the same?
I mean, colored pencils involve a lot of layering, so it would be actually pretty similar to acrylic painting in that respect. I think with colored pencils, you kind of leave some of the white areas lighter. With the acrylic painting, you tend to go dark to light, so you notice I put in my dark colors, and then I'm putting my light colors on top. And with colored pencils, you wouldn't necessarily do that, because if you put in too dark, you wouldn't be able to get the light color on, on top. So that would be the only major difference, I would think. But no, I think that, yeah, you definitely, and with colored pencils, you're going to have good, hand-eye coordination. So that'll really help you when you transition to brush. The only difference would be just kind of learning to control the amount of paint on your brush and that kind of thing. But you already should have some good brush control, or, good control in your hand. So that'll help a lot. Okay, so I mixed a little bit lighter blue. I've got a little bit more phthalo blue, and I grabbed a little bit of that gray, but it's mostly blue and white. And just a little bit of that gray to kind of tone it down. And this is going to be our main color. I wanted to have those other colors in there first so that would really pop off the canvas. See how now it's really nice and vibrant. I'm not going to do all of the feathers with this. I'm just going to kind of do a few major ones. And I'm just sort of lightly dry brushing so that it's picking up the texture of the canvas a little bit. I'm going to grab a little bit of that glazing medium just to make it flow a little bit better. All right, I'm going to grab some white. Put And a few white feathers. That. Grab a little bit of black. There's a few shadows in here, so I'm going to put those back in. A little bit more of the blue, and we're going to use that on the breast feathers. So I'm just going to set it down and kind of pull, maybe a little bit too bright. So I'm going to grab a little bit more of the gray, a little bit more of the blue.
Got a question asking what is the difference between titanium white and zinc white? I know we've had this question before, and I don't remember.
Zinc white is transparent. So.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Done.
Okay. Just setting it down and kind of lightly brushing. It's leaving the little gray bits in between. I'm kind of just layering these. And then these larger, the wing feathers are longer, so I'm just going to do kind of longer brush strokes for those. And then they get a little bit smaller as they get up here. Just barely setting it down and kind of lifting, tugging at the brush. I'm going to go back with that black and put that black back in there. And then put a little bit of black detail on the tips of some of these feathers. I have very little black on my brush. I just picked up a little teeny tiny bit, so I'm gonna just tap it on the tips of a few of these feathers, right on the edge where I just painted them. I don't know if we need to zoom in or not, but
I'm on standby just in case.
Okay. Well, that's about all there is to do for that guy, so at least for that part. Let me grab some blue, a little bit of white. We'll put in some blue feathers right in here. He's got some really bright blue. It's very small, so I'm just barely kind of dragging my brush, keeping those brush strokes very thin. Now, if you are having trouble keeping these thin enough, you can switch to a thinner brush. Don't feel like you have to do it all with this brush like I'm doing. I just find that this one actually works really well for these kind of things. It does a really variety of different techniques. So I'm going to use a little bit of it, this darker blue in the tail feathers too. Okay.
I wonder if these roosters are harder to catch than the other ones.
Oh no. Yeah. To paint them.
Yeah, to paint them.
Kitchen to paint them. I was wondering when you were going to come out with that.
Well, you know, it wasn't as funny the second time.
Some people haven't heard your first one.
You know what the most difficult part about painting roosters?
What?
Catching them.
That's right.
Imagine trying to catch that whale you painted last week.
Okay, I'm going to, no comment. I am going to make a yellow oxide. And really, honestly, I could have just used yellow oxide instead of the brighter yellow here, because I didn't really need the brighter yellow for anything. But I'm going to add a little bit of red to it and a little bit of blue. What that'll do is the red and blue together make kind of a dull purple. And then mixed with the yellow, it'll make sort of a brownish yellow. And I'm going to need a lot more of the yellow. The yellow will be like 4 times any of the other colors here. So that, a little bit more of the red than the blue. because you want a little bit more on the warm side, but more of a brownish yellow. There we go. So it's pretty close to a yellow oxide type-ish color. I'm going to add some white. And you can really see how it's got that kind of same sort of brownish yellow quality. I'm using my long number 4 flat, or no, number 2 flat Princeton. It's got the long bristles, so it'll allow me to make long lines. I could use my small round brush. I found that it was easier to make smooth lines with this brush than it was with my round. I just find that it's a little bit easier. You could also use your angle brush or something like that, and that will make you nice long lines. Whatever, use, practice maybe on a piece of paper or something, see what feels right to you and use that. You don't have to use the same exact brushes that I'm using, just whatever works for you. And I'm going to grab a little bit of white over here. So I've got a little bit of yellow on my brush, and I'm going to make kind of a very, very light off-white color. Grab a little bit of the glazing medium to help it flow. Don't want too much glazing medium because I don't want it to turn transparent. I want to keep this nice and opaque. And I'm going to come in right here and do this part that is right up next to his body. Now, these feathers are supposed to be kind of going behind his body, so if you wanted to, you could tape this section and just paint these long brush strokes and have them go over the tape, and then you can tear it off, and you know that you'll have your bird protected. What I'm going to do is just kind of do my brush strokes in the opposite direction so that I kind of start right along that edge, and then I'm going to put some black over the top, so I don't have to worry too much about it.
And that's just that blue painter's tape, right?
Right, yeah, some blue painter's tape or something like
lift.
that.
Okay.
Right. But you're just kind of wanting to stay away from, you don't want these feathers to go over the top of this black right here. And these ones on this side will definitely go over the top. But for right here, we're going to start. And the feathers on this guy come right off the beak. It's really weird. They come right from the top of the beak here. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'm not going to draw the beak in yet.
I was just thinking that this guy would seriously rock a man bun.
I think you're right. He totally would.
Just pull it back and tie it down and
listen to some tunes.
Be
hang out with
the
the
envy
pigs.
of all the other roosters.
That's right. Oh gosh. You're just jealous. You talk about man buns a lot. I think you just kind of secretly wish you had a man bun.
Somebody was sending me picture after picture after picture of man buns from the music festival they went to. Somebody's like man buns in this room. And I know it's not me.
It was just hard to avoid them. They were everywhere. Kind of like plaid shirts at a Bon Iver concert. You can't avoid it. Mumford & Sons, any of those. Lumineers. Okay, so I'm using this white off-white color here just to kind of line out. This is so fun. I hope this is therapeutic for you because it is really fun. Don't get too caught up in any one brush stroke. If you mess up and it looks weird, just kind of put a couple brush strokes over the top of it. Don't freak out. You can always wipe off your brush strokes too if you get one that's just really out there and you don't like it. Just get a little bit of wet rag immediately and wipe it off gently. Acrylics will wipe off. As long as your background is dry, you have a little bit of time to adjust. So And I'm bringing these right down over the top of his hair. Fun, fun, fun. All right, so let's grab some of our gray. A little bit of the white in there. We don't want it super dark. Actually, let me grab a little bit more of the black. I do want it a little bit more of the gray. If you get too much paint on your brush, you can kind of just tap it off in your paper towel too. And we're going to put in some gray. This head thing here is, what is his crest, is kind of a combination of a bunch of different colors happening. So we're just going to put a bunch of layers in, and they'll all kind of come together at the end to create this really fun. So don't do too much of any one color right off the bat. We're going to want the white to be sort of our main color that it, you know, reads white. So don't do too many of these other colors at first. So you don't want to have to cover over a bunch of stuff, but having these yellow and gray in the background will help your white kind of pop a little bit more. So I'm going to grab some of that yellow color. I mixed way more than I need. Way more than I need. We'll put a little bit of the yellow in here. Just a few little brush strokes like that. And then I'm going to actually use it, I'm going to glaze, thin it out quite a bit. I'm going to use a little bit of it in the tail feathers here and just add a little bit of that yellow oxide-ish color to those tail feathers. Grab a little bit of white, mix that with the colors, and we'll add a few little streaks of white right there. Just a few, because you want to keep that looking pretty dark gray, but pretty much black. Grab a little bit more black. And we're going to pull some of these black feathers over the top of the wing this way. Use a little bit of that black also. I'm going to add a little bit of glazing medium just to soften it up just slightly. We'll use a little bit of that black, and we'll streak a few little black feathers from the head out. Now these are going to be covered up mostly, so don't worry too much. But I want black, especially kind of behind the beak area there. There was a lot of black. Okay, let's zoom in on the face now, and I'm going to show the beak.
Make sure you move the painting.
Ah, thank you. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. That was a suggestion if they wanted to see it.
Okay. Whatever.
I mean, we could make them pay to watch that part of the video.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right.
It's all free.
It's all free.
Alright, so I've got the yellow here, and I'm just going to kind of base in the beak with the yellow, and then we'll add little streaks of black into it too, but it's going to be kind of a triangle shape right there like that, and then this part kind of curves in. So that is the top of the beak. And then the bottom of the beak kind of stops right at the body there almost. I'm going to grab a little bit of black with my brush while it's still wet, and I'm going to draw in really carefully that bottom beak area and kind of blend it in slightly. And then I'm going to blend in a little bit of that black in on the beak. Right in there. Wipe my brush clean. And then use that dry brush to kind of blend those colors together. Slightly. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit of white. Go right up on that top of the beak and pull some white along the top and in over the top. A little bit on the bottom of the beak too. If it's not showing up against your white feathers, what you can do is take a tiny bit of black and just very carefully sort of outline it. You don't want it to look outlined, so don't don't be too obvious about that, but you can kind of outline it a little bit. It'll help. The picture that I had, the photograph of the rooster, the beak was almost invisible. It was just like this little teeny tiny bit of color that's poking out, and same thing with his eye is nearly invisible. So I'm not really going to even give him an eye. I'm just going to take a little bit of this gray and sort of do sort of a slight outline of where the eye would be and call that good. And then the rest of it is going to be covered with more feathers coming over the top of it. So let's grab some red. And the red is coming right from that part of the mouth right there.
Which brush are you using again?
This is the number 2/0. I'm going to tap some red over the top. Oops, a little bit of water on my brush. Tap a little bit of red over the top. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing good. We are smoking it.
I know, I'm killing it over here.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Got a little bit of white with my red here. I'm going to just kind of try to cover over that line a little bit. You can see that barn line behind. You don't want that to show up, so I'm going to... White is a very opaque color, so anytime you're trying to cover over another color like black or something like that, using a little bit of white in your paint will help you achieve a more opaque, better coverage. This wattle sticks out like that. And then I can go back in here with my brighter red. Do like that. I'm going to grab some of my dark red. That was my color right here. I'm going to add a little bit of that in. I'm going to need to let this dry because it's wanting to lift on me. Right there. Okay. Get a little bit more of the black right here to the beak. Wipe my brush off and just kind of pull that color forward. Darken up that bottom of the lip. Okay, I think that's good. We'll work on the red on the wattle a little bit more, but I'm gonna do a few more streaks in of hair. Actually, let's go ahead and use this smaller brush since we've got it out. And I'm gonna grab some bright white. Add a little, whoop, got a little red in there. Add a little bit of the glazing medium. It'll just make it a little bit easier to use this liner brush. A little bit smoother line. Anytime you're using a round, thin brush, like a liner, you're going to want to add fluid to your paint, make it more viscous, more thin. It'll roll off your brush easier and you'll have smoother, thinner lines. So I'm going to roll my brush to a point. And then I'm going to go, so right here is really the top of where the feathers are going to come out of, right above the beak area. So I'm going to pull some very small feathers up and out from that point. Not too many because I want to leave a little bit of that black showing, but I want to cover over the eye a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of curve it around and out from the thing. See how that worked? Now I'm going to switch to my bigger brush because I can get longer lines with it. And grab more white.
And which bigger brush is this?
This is the number 2 flat. Just so you get a clean spot of white here. And we'll use the bright white this time. No other color in it. Now we're really going to brighten up and punch up that color. I'm using the edge of the brush, setting it down and turning it a little bit as I lay down these feathers. So some of them are just going to sort of be flicked like that. Some of them are just going to set it down and sort of flick out, just like we did these feathers down here with the Filbert. Set it down and sort of flick your wrist out. And then some are going to kind of pull in an arc. And those are the trickier ones. So if you're having trouble keeping your brush lined up with that at that angle, you can switch to a round brush. Do it with your round brush. It's really bright white right here. She's so fun looking. Just love these chickens. One of my girlfriends, Margaret, has one of these. That's where I got the inspiration. I was trying to take a picture of it, and man, they move fast. He would not hold still for me. He wasn't this color. He was like brown and black, like a beigey brown and black color, and he was trucking. Every time he'd stop for a minute, I'd try to go over and get a picture of him, and he'd take off. So. Okay, I think we're about done with him. We just need to put a little bit more of our red in our wattle, and we are good. Grab a little bit more of the black, mix that with the red. Just need a deeper red color for some shadows in right here. And right along this side, and then this one has a little bit of shadows right up here. And actually, I don't know why this got so wide, because grab some white. This actually kind of comes in like that, so there we go. Get some of that brighter red. Tap it along that front end. The beak. I think we're about done. Zoom out here, hun. Not so bad. Good. Yeah, just a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and sign it. And right after this, Ginger Cook is going to be live on her show, so be sure to check that out. We're hoping that everybody that's watching with us live today will go over straight from here and stream into her show, the Bomb Ginger show.
And the links are down in the description to her.
Down in the description
page.
to her channel. And then if you want to go straight to the show, it's up in the iCards.
Okay.
So I'm painting here with my Pigma FB. Or any of your permanent ink pens. I've got a link down in the description to the Pitt pens that I like to use as well. So I hope you will try this and share it with me on social media. If you do, please share the link when you share it on your social media. If you'll grab the link to this video when you share your paintings, that'll help kind of get the word out about our videos. It really helps us out. Give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, we really hope that you will do that and join us next time for more painting. Oh, we need to do Stickman really quick, so we'll let Ginger get started here.
Yeah.
We need to do our Stickman guy.
Save that one.
I rememred this time.
Yes, you did. I'm over here making sure I'm ready to click on the right things. And
Stickman's our mascot. Mark started him out. It's got Stick Cat too on here, but Stick Cat hasn't really gotten a whole lot. He's got a sheep friend and a cat friend. We'll give him a rooster. Here. We're running out of room. Give him some white head feathers here. Couple legs. And a beak. Call it good. Oh, he needs a wattle, I guess. There. All right. He's just a bit of fun. We like to play, have a little fun, add something depending on whatever we're painting that day. So he got a whale tail from Tuesday night's show. So if you missed that, you can check that out. We got over 150 videos of all different levels done. So if you want to check those out, we've got playlists and all kinds of different stuff for you to check out on my channel too. So, all right, I think we're going to get off of here. Has Ginger started? All right, she's good to go. Go check her out, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.